All right, good morning, Cyber Traders, and welcome on back to close out our week here this Friday, August 19th. Great to see all of us inside the live trading room. We had Andre, Ray, Renzo, Gene, Michael, Grant, Malcolm. We have Norman, we have Jeff, Leda, Nina, and Kathleen, all of us, Egan, and Brad. Don't want to forget about Brad and Charles and Karen. Geez, we got all of us here today, the whole family together here this Friday morning. Great to see all of us there. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. It's a Friday. It's a bit of a casual Friday for me here. So backwards cap, t-shirt. Let's get right to it, folks. Brad says audio breaking up. That scares me right out the gate. Folks, be good inside the live trading room. Can you folks hear me loud and clear? Just a moment ago, I did a sound test. I thought it was good. There we go. Voila. All right, so I'm going to keep moving forward. Great to see all of us back on social media, though, Facebook Live, YouTube. I'll tell you what, market was a bit wonky yesterday, and markets are down this morning, but man, there's a lot that's still moving out there, not just on the way up, but obviously. And although we have MOBQ on the screen here to begin, I'd be remiss to not begin by mentioning Bed Bath Beyond, right? I mean, oh my God, what happened to this thing in the after hours? This thing got clobbered, ended up dropping off from over 18 all the way down to close to 10. I think it bottomed out at like 10:06 in the after hours. I was talking to Rich about this just over the evening. I saw it first, and he ended up texting me actually like right around the same time, like, man, did you see what happened on this Bed Bath Beyond trade? So the news out on it, just so you all know. And I thought this was like pretty much news beforehand because this one ended up dropping off from the afternoon back from Wednesday this week, right? I don't think I have my chart settings to even go back that far. To say, Wednesday afternoon it started to drop. Then pre-market yesterday morning continued to pull back. And then here we are once again. So the news that came out, I think it was with Ryan Cohen, not Steve Cohen. Ryan Cohen ended up selling, I think at first he had said like 7.7 million shares. Now at this point, I think it came out in like a Form 13 F or D that he owns nothing. He completely sold his full position. I looked online and I think he ended up profiting like 67, 65 million on that exit, on that position. Oh, it's nice to be him, isn't it? Now, we're not looking to swing trade Bed Bath Beyond. We never were. You know who this sucks for? And this sucks for the new traders out here, post-COVID. Ended up seeing the market fly to break new highs then, and they ended up seeing the meme stocks back then too. They might listen to Kramer and get Jeffrey inside our live trading room saying Kramer won't shut up about it yesterday. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to move forward from this stock in just a moment, but it's the memesters, all the people out there, and unfortunately, not just like the uneducated trader, like the younger trader, someone in their like late teens, early 20s, late 20s. I'm 30 turning 31. So I can't imagine for like one of my friends who has no idea what they're doing in the market. Maybe they're looking to buy a house soon. They want to, really get the money to do that. And well, they jump into this Bed Bath Beyond thinking, oh, it's going to keep going. It's going to go up to 60 or 70, 100. And then look what happens. And they're trading on platforms, brokers that don't give them the access to get out of the trade in the extended hours trading, whether it be pre-market or more often than not after hours like you're seeing here. So that's brutal. That's terrifying to be a part of, right? Well, thankfully for Jeffrey, Brad, Grant, Carol, Karen, Brian, I got your email, and I think the restaurant suggestions there, so I appreciate that. For all of us here, we're all educated enough to know that we're not going to look to hold on to this position, especially from yesterday after it was already dropping off and tanking from Wednesday afternoon. Now, we are day traders, right? So with that in mind, this thing is down 35%. It was down over 50 to 60% from yesterday in pre-market this morning. That's why I put this on the pre-market watch list. I mean, there's a chance, right? It ended up flattening out early in pre-market here, but man, once this ended up breaking above 1075, seemingly 1080 from there, 11. Beautiful day trade, right? It's very liquid order book right now too. That's what makes it even more tradable than anything else. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty fast-moving stock, and it was even that much more fast-moving from the last few days. But that's why I had it on the list this morning. At least ended up making a nice dead cat bounce to begin. And for right now, we'll put this on our main morning watch list here for the open. No water today. We got an energy drink, Celsius. Looks like a seltzer, right, by the way? It's like, oh, we're not drinking this early, folks. It's a Celsius energy drink. All right, so let's keep going. What we'll do is go from top to bottom. I mean, the Bed Bath Beyond trade I wanted to just at least talk about to begin. We actually had MOBQ on our screen as we started the meeting. So this ended up making a big push after 8:30, had called it out off the initial pop, and then from there, thankfully, ended up trending back up, making lower highs as it, or making higher lows. Pulled the Fausto there, made higher lows as it made a squeeze up towards 190. From there, broke above 190 and even 2. It's been having a tough time really breaking higher since. Perhaps it could do that at the opening bell. So MOBQ, I'll easily just put on our main watch list right now alongside that Bed Bath Beyond trade. I thought I had my Benzinga Pro up, actually. I have it up on my laptop screen here, but I can't get the news on that. That's like my screener, my scanner. I'm going to look for that coming up at the end. So the news on MOBQ, let me just take a look as to why the stock is up 39%. Looks like all that came out was like earnings. They reported Q2 year-over-year revenue growth of 273%. That's a pretty nice statistic. I'm sure there's other tidbits and headlines with that earnings report. So yeah, I mean, ended up making a nice squeeze this morning. Great day trade. Hopefully this continues after the market opens up. You know what I'm going to say, when the volume dies off, so does the stock. So the same will happen at some point throughout the day today. That's what you got to watch out for. When the volume dies off, so does the stock. GCT here ended up making a huge run up, and then once the volume essentially dropped off, it had a big spike here right at 8 o'clock, but sans that, it was peaking here at this point at 752 once it topped off at 28. So when the volume begins to die off right from there, after it ran up as much as it did, I mean, stock didn't double up, but it was, a big move from 1850 upwards to 28, 29. So, 10, 11 point move up on thin volume. That's the key part about this trade. It was on thin volume. So with seeing such a big spread and tinier orders out there on the bid and the ask, it's going to make for a big shake back down, and the type of shake that's much harder to get out of, especially here in pre-market. Pre-market, there's no stop orders, there's no market orders for any new day trader joining us here. Yeah, you can make a lot of money, trading pre-market, running a stock up, but what happens when the wheels fall off? So that's what you don't want to be a part of. That's what you have to train beforehand in order to learn how to really capitalize on, meaning that you got to learn how to trade during the regular trading hours with real money before you start trading pre-market. And when you begin trading pre-market, you do it on very tiny shares, even one share, like Fausto says, right? Whether it's 1, 10, 20 shares, just minimal. So you know that you're not making the big bucks. That's not your intent of looking to learn how to trade pre-market, but that is how you learn and gain the confidence of knowing what's right, what's wrong. You're going to make, mistakes, and you're going to have some good, successes that you're going to learn from at the same time. So GCT here, getting back to the, at least consideration of putting this on our morning watch list. It's a new IPO from yesterday. So it broke above yesterday's high, all-time high territory here. I'm going to bank on the, I'm going to hope and bank on the order book filling in a bit more when the market does open. So I'll put this on our list. It will probably be near the middle or bottom by the end of it all. AGLE, I was pretty hopeful to see the break over the VWAP at the time, right off 87 cents here after 8 a.m. We didn't have this on our main morning watch list. It was below $1, but otherwise, with nothing else moving really at that point, I was pretty hopeful to see the pop just held perfectly and then from there dropped off. So I'm sure that this can make a small move after the market opens up, but for right now, it's still trending downward. I want to see if there's anything looking just better right now. All right, so the SMMT stock we had on our pre-market list, I was pretty hopeful to see this at least hold support off of 138. Ended up breaking below 138 prior to us beginning this meeting and held it as resistance after. This one I'll put on our main list at least. It seems like it's trading a lot of volume right now. Similar to AGLE, I reckon, but this one over $1. I'm more hopeful to see this make a cleaner, more concise run. So SMMT, I'll add to our list here. I would say the VWAP is still going to act as resistance on this one. That, and also just from what we had from earlier, 138 as a key level. All right, let's keep it going for right now. Foot Locker, normally we'll put Foot Locker on our list off of earnings, which is what I'm assuming is what happened this morning on it. Yep. Oh, new CEO also. Wow. So they ended up soaring on their Q2 EPS beat, and then they ended up having a transition within their board with a new CEO. So, a little extra news out there on Foot Locker this morning. Pretty thin order book, though, for an expensive trade. So I would really just focus on the whole number levels on this one, that being 40 right now, having a tough time moving off of. I'm going to put this kind of towards the GCT on our watch list here. It will make the cut, but, it'll be very thinly traded. So, again, you heard me say it very firmly yesterday, and, that's where I say, like, there's some of us here that kind of think that they're not really like a level 3 or 4 or 5 trader, but they are making $500 a day more days than not. Folks, if you're making 500, 1,000, of course, more than $500 a day consistently with us day trading, you are a level 3 trader at least. So I would suggest for you personally to keep your eyes on this Foot Locker trade should you be one of those traders here. If not, then I would rather you follow SMMT. I'd rather you follow, how about this? Given the liquidity, I'd rather you follow Bed Bath Beyond for right now. If it explodes and becomes way too fast for you to try and follow the order book on, then maybe trade lighter shares or even just move on from that altogether. But I'd rather you trade Bed Bath Beyond there at that point. So, we'll see what comes with this Foot Locker trade, if it becomes a better run off of the 40 level afterwards, or if we end up seeing continuous volume filled off the bid here, some early selling after the initial pop off 40. So, the more history repeats itself in that front, perhaps that could lead to a nice pullback, a short back down at least first. At the AXSM stock from earlier, talk about thin volume and an expensive trade too. So I'm going to skip over this one, honestly. MNMD, Minnesota Doctor, Rob. There we go, our nickname from yesterday on this trade. So it's just choppy, right? It's teasing us for another move up. Would I mind putting this on our watch list? No, I wouldn't. This could be a nice trade once again, but there's just like not really that much direction just yet. So it's more of like a hope than anything. So I'm going to kind of just put this on our side list for right now. It's a Friday. It's a pre-Labor Day Friday. Obviously, Labor Day not until a few weekends from now, but we're getting there. So it's the end of the summer. We want to spend time with families before kids go back to school. I have no kids, but I know that for fact from Fausto. You always hear Fausto say that this time of the year in particular. And with that, it's the end of the summer. So if it's nice out, that's where you should look to step outside, do things that you'd like to do, go boating, go to the beach, go plant or garden or whatever it may be, right? So with that, I'm not as picky to follow this stock on this type of day. That's it. Maybe after the open, if it shows better strength, then definitely. All right, we keep it going. Let's see what else we got here on the gainers side. We'll hop over to the losers list next. Current time 9:13. Want to make sure that we have enough time to prep and get ready. So we'll kind of skim through this here really briefly. STRN, not much going on there. TBLT, I thought one of us had called out at some point yesterday, maybe even the day before. Looks like this right now is trying to make a little bit of a push. It's up over 8%. A nice little pop off of 525-ish, 530. I don't have my level 4 open for this trade in particular, but for right now, it's interesting here. The TBLT, hopefully this makes another big move after the market opens up. All right, let's see if there's anything else looking, good on the gainer side. With the market down, perhaps even a UVXY could be called out right now. I don't see it here just yet. Just type in UVXY, VIX ETF. Yeah, it's up over 3%. It was up, a little bit more earlier, but for right now, I'll hold off on like the ETFs there. I guess the market's not down enough yet for UVXY to be really pushing up just for right now. Bed Bath Beyond ended up topping off seemingly at 12 on a pullback down towards 1150 in the VWAP off 1143. That's the first test of the VWAP as support, so that could be a pretty important moment to see it bounce. So for right now, we already have this on our list, looking pretty good as just a day trade. A day trade, remember, folks. I mean, from the get-go, even as this was running up, in hindsight, you could say, oh, it's a swing trade. Oh, that's a nice move up. Big trees fall hard. What goes up comes back down. So, it's not just to say that, but then you never know what's going to happen with this type of like news that comes out where, big board member Ryan Cohen ends up selling his entire position getting out of the trade. So, that at that point, this can make another nice bounce afterwards, but just I'd be really careful of watching the volume die off after a big volume spike like you have here. All right, let's see if there's anything else otherwise on the losers list. The Stone trade, STNA, maybe off of earnings. It's dropping off. Pretty spotty chart here in pre-market, but I'd anticipate the order book to fill in more. We ended up doing pretty well in the stock as a day trade. Back, I mean, these big volume spike days, you could definitely say, but more so from here, ended up making a big gap up back in the mid-March, and then from there ran from like roughly 12.10, ended up running up towards 13.90. It moved up higher the next couple of days, but it pulled back down pretty sharply. It was shortable back then, and once again, on the downside today, it's down over 14%, shortable right now on my TradeStation platform. It's testing 10, breaking below 10 right now even. I don't really see much volume filled off of 10, and you could just see that based off the volume bar here on the right side of the level 3. So I'd be really careful, at least heading into the open on this type of trade. Look for the order book to fill in more for Stone, but as a short, we'll look to see if it could re-break, retest around that 10 level afterwards. All right. Folks, I think that might just about wrap it up. I know we have a couple more that are down here, so I'm just going to skim through, look at them, like Coinbase. Pretty expensive. It will be pretty liquid, so that I do like. If there is an expensive stock that you're interested in, I'd rather it be liquid, right? So Coinbase could be a good one to follow on the way down with crypto and the market as a whole. Riot is down big, and it is shortable. Mara, I know, has been very tough to get shares to short, so I'll put both on perhaps. If you're on Interactive Brokers, you might be able to get shares to short on the Mara trade. But Mara, Riot, those crypto mining, Bitcoin mining affiliated stocks, we'll see what they could do at least once the market opens up. All right. So for any one of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, let me know if there's anything up, down, left, right, more than 5%. Or I guess anything else, but anything else otherwise that looks good, that's moving, active in pre-market here that you would want me to check out. Had one of us mention inside the live trading room, this was really early on in the morning, and I just want to make mention of this because, hey, it makes, it helps to ask these questions as a student. So Ted, Ted S has been with us on and off for a little while now, a couple of years in and out. So he was simply asking this morning, hey, what about Lizzie, L-I-Z-I? It's down big, right? If it was shortable, yes, but unless if you're expecting like a really big run back up afterwards, there's a reason why it's down now 19 or 20% now at this point. But it makes sense to ask that question though, like, hey, should I look to follow this stock? It's all right to hear no, right? Better to say no than to say nothing and to have you go into a trade. I was on a coaching call with one of my students yesterday, and they had an entry on this stock, REUN, and it was at 5, like right here, maybe one of these. And he was like kind of in the position a little bit, like up a few cents at the time, but the stock was trading such little volume day to day here that unless if it runs off the level shortly after you get in, if it's not going to make that big move up, there's only one other way the stock's going to go. And for such a little volume stock, ended up completely dropping off. It makes sense to ask, right? Janice asking here in the chat board, is the game plan to short stocks today? Well, if the market drops off, certainly. You always have to follow the market. That's why I have the SPY on my 5-minute chart here. When Rich retakes my screen over here, he's going to have the SPY on his 5-minute chart. Do as you may with following the market, whether it's the Qs or the SPY or the S&P as a whole, or the NASDAQ 100, whatever it is. Any major indices is great to follow, and once you see continued direction up or down, then it's a better opportunity to long or short, right? But aside from that, it's not to say that MOBQ is going to move with the SPY. It's not to say that SMMT is going to move with the SPY. The smaller cap stocks, based off of news, they're going to make their own moves, so to say, comparative to a major index. A few of us saying VLCN just popped right now. Bingo. There we go. Nice move. So instantly, I'm going to put this on our watch list. It's up big. It's a cheap stock and very liquid, mind you, off the pop. So what's the news on this VLCN that led to this, near 70% move and counting? Quick little break first. VLCN obtains pre-orders that sell out their entire 2023 forecast. They have $100+ million of potential revenue that they just made. So that's nice to hear. I have no idea what this company sells. All right. So Vulcan VLCN is an all-electric off-road power sports vehicle company developing and building electric 2- and 4-wheel motorcycles and utility terrain vehicles. That's pretty cool. Nice. So electric, and I guess just the news that came out where they ended up selling out their entire 2023 forecast and they generated over $100 million in potential revenue. That's a pretty nice reaction. So great call from all of us inside the trading room here on that. Janice asking also, are you looking at the TBLT trade? I was from earlier. It looks like it's pushing up a little bit after 9 o'clock. Yeah, so we have this on our watch list already. I was wondering if it ended up breaking out any higher, or if it dumped off. It had a little pullback from where we last left off on it. So the TBLT trade is already on our list, but you'd want to see some good direction afterwards, a higher high up towards that 550 again. All right, Bill's saying right now he has TradeStation. He just got approved for shares to short on Mara. Nice. That's good to hear. All right, folks, I think that just about wraps it up for me here across the mornings. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there, the stream, to get yourself started. But if you have any questions beforehand, any trades that you would like to go over with me through email, or anything to do with these meetings as a whole, feel more than free to email me. I always like to post my email at the end of these streams here, josh@ctutrading.com. Of course, for all of us inside the live trading room, I'm just a private chat away there. You know where to find me. I'm going to jump back on the mic in T-minus 8 minutes to get things started here for the opening bell. I'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.